positioned themselves as protectors of the program. Funding for Medicare is expected to hit a shortfall in 2028, while Social Security could run out of money in 2032. Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid currently make up nearly half of the entire federal budget, with an annual cost of $1 trillion. Senator Cassidy proposed creating a fund which is separate from Social Security, or about $500 billion to be invested into the nation's economy. Plus, Cassidy stated, "And we allow it to sit here, we allow it to grow, and at the end, it helps bridge Social Security's sustainability and all the risk that is borne by the fund." One other option being discussed is raising retirement age. Republicans like Louisiana Senator John Kennedy and even his presidential candidate have recently proposed doing that. Last year, a group of House Republicans called for increasing the retirement age to 70 years old for Social Security and Medicare. That's then indexing it to life expectancy. But it's not only Republicans supporting the change, because many of the Democrats have shown their support for a higher retirement age. Raising the eligibility age is not an insignificant proposal. Research has found that raising this would actually increase and cut monthly Social Security payments for early retirees by about 15%. And people in low-income or blue-collar jobs would see their retirement cut the most. And according to USA Today, the average cost for a gallon of regular gas that is up 21 cents in just 1 month. The national average price for a gallon of gas was $3.67. On average, the gallon of gas is also widening variably across the country. For instance, in California, it was $4.20. In Mississippi, it's $3.16. Meanwhile, the national average price of diesel has fallen 0.3 cents in the last week and stands at $4.15 a gallon, 87 cents lower than a year ago. But according to analysis at JP Morgan, oil prices are poised to rally soon, as the Federal Reserve is expected to pause its rate hikes. Since the 80s, the final increase in a tightening cycle has been followed by increasing in the price of Brent crude 3 months later, returning an average of 9%. Now, it's the most traded of all the oil benchmarks and is defined as the most drilled in the North Shore fields. The main takeaway is for now that if the Fed pauses its rate hiking campaign soon, the most likely scenario is that oil performs well. Markets expect the Fed to raise the rates one more time, lifting them by another 25 basis points. So this can mean several good things for the American people. In response to inflation, the Federal Reserve has embarked on a series of hikes to its benchmark interest rate, which raises borrowing costs for consumers and businesses alike. That should slow the economy and slash demand, however, eventually bringing down prices for some goods at least. But rate hikes produced mixed results for rent prices. Economists have said that a slower economy and a potential reduction in consumer spending should put downward pressure on demand, causing prices to fall. But rate hikes also lead to a rise in mortgage rates, which keeps prospective home buyers in the rental market as they await a better home buying opportunity, helping sustain demand and limit price declines. Still, folks, the pace of rising rents should come down over the remainder of this year. Economists have told ABC News that it won't bring any outright decline in rents, but it'll bring some relief in a massive price increase. Awesome news, it's finally going to happen. The lawmakers have just confirmed that many low to middle income households are going to be receiving extra stimulus this year. I'm going to be revealing the details all about this in this video, so keep on watching. Now, lawmakers are preparing to roll out direct payments to help residents and fight the rampant inflation that has strained so many people and household budgets across the nation. The relief going out this month comes after the Commerce Department announced a second consecutive quarter of economic contraction last week. This is what many analysts use as a simple definition for a recession. This is despite pushback from Biden's administration and some economists who want to wait for the National Bureau of Economic Research to officially call off a recession. As U.S. officials debate over the health of the economy, governors are handing out from the center on budget and policy priorities. Since the expansion expired, an estimated 20 million it's set to go for January 24. And according to the Associated Press, well, the budget will propose indexing state aid for school districts just to help combat inflation. So Waltz has told reporters that I think people are feeling inflation. Even though it might be cooling a little bit, there's a slight sense of urgency among people to get something done. And that's good here. Something should be done because the Governor Waltz's original pitch for the tax rebates has been quite generous for a lot of people. It gives single filers, for instance, a lot of breathing room, a lot of time to just think about what they can do, and now the government has already signed them into a second term. So, though not all of these fellow lawmakers share the priorities, though. because the House Speaker and Majority Leader claimed they wanted to prioritize tax credits for families, giving the families $3,000 for every child 5 or younger, with a cap of $7,500. Even a Massachusetts governor and top lawmaker signaled that a clear picture of potential tax relief may not even emerge until at least the end of January, when a key final metric is actually heard of. So one governor, for instance, said their teams are working closely through numbers and evaluating what's possible. They said that we told reporters how important it is to make sure that we're doing everything we can for the residents of the state. And Healy on the campaign trail had vowed to make progressive permanent tax relief her day one priority. She also had largely echoed support for the now former governor Charlie Baker's sweeping tax cut proposal last year. And low, middle, and income residents have all received some stimulus payments just to stop the crying at least. But now the IRS said it recently finished correcting tax returns, filing that for 2020. And so the IRS said, folks, that the average tax refund is around $1,200, with tax agencies sending a total of $15 billion back to the taxpayers. So while taxpayers were sent letters from the IRS just to inform them about the fixes to the 2020 tax filings, well, tax review came due to the American Rescue Plan. It was signed by Joe Biden, we all know that, and because the IRS, it reviewed returns filed by workers and even other people who have jobless aid as income. So the IRS told CNBC that some taxpayers received refunds, while others received overpayment applied due to taxes or other debts. In some cases, the exclusion only resulted in a reduction in their adjusted gross income. But now we know that about 14 million tax returns were corrected. The IRS issued refunds for 12 million of those filings. It added individuals, married couples whose adjusted gross income was below 150 grand, or who were eligible to see unemployment and aid untaxed. According to the IRS, it has now finished corrections, everybody. Though it has added taxpayers who are eligible for the exclusion and who haven't gotten a correction from the IRS. Well, they need to be amended very, very quick, or else you won't get that stimulus cash that people need. Wow, we have a ton of news about the fourth stimulus check, Social Security benefits, Ssdi, and I want to go over some very important notes that I have about the fourth stimulus payment and what Joe Biden should do about this fourth stimulus check and what he's going to do now very soon.
Hey everyone, today we honor the legacy of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Dr. King was a prophet. He saw the future as it could be, a future of equity, justice, and opportunity for all. Dr. King saw the connection between racial injustice and economic injustice, and he knew that to effectively address either injustice, our nation would have to address both. Together, in the spirit of the fight for freedom and equality, let us stand together to end the epidemic of violence and hate in our communities. Let us advance workers' rights and economic dignity. Let us